There are times when a moment only comes once in a lifetime, and when it's gone, the world seems to stop spinning. That's how many people felt when they realized that the most precious moment between Hou Minghao and Yuxiao had been deleted, cut, and removed by the production staff. However, what actually happened behind the scenes was not just a technical error. No. It was a story of emotions that were too real, of gazes that were too honest to be broadcast raw on screen. The moment occurred in the middle of filming a scene that seemed ordinary on the surface, a meeting that was supposed to be filled with brief dialogue and professional smiles. But for some reason, when the camera started rolling, the air in the room changed. It became silent, heavy. It was as if time had stopped between the two of them. Yuxiao stood there with her hair falling softly on her shoulders, wearing a soft-colored dress that reflected the afternoon light. Meanwhile, Hou Minghao, with his always unpredictable gaze, looked at her with an intensity that even the crew around them could feel. Something inside him, something he had kept neatly hidden all this time, suddenly surfaced. He looked at her not as a coworker, not as a co-star in a drama, but as someone who was truly important. Her smile was small, almost imperceptible, but full of meaning. And at that moment, Yuxiao's eyes trembled, as if there was something she wanted to say, but was held back by fear and the script she had to follow. However, before that moment could develop, before those words could actually come out of her mouth, a firm voice came from behind the camera. Cut. Everything stopped. The lights went out. The crew's voices could be heard again, and the atmosphere returned to the real world. But not for them. Their eyes were still locked, as if the scene wasn't really over yet. The staff probably thought they were just saving production time, cutting out the too long part. However, for fans who caught a glimpse of it, recorded on the crew's behind-the-scenes camera or briefly appearing in the behind-the-scenes footage, that moment was more than just acting. It was an honest moment, a genuine glimpse into the connection between two souls that held something deeper than the script. Why did they cut that part? The question echoed across social media, creating a small storm in the virtual world. Fans felt deceived, feeling they had missed something they should have seen, a feeling, an acknowledgement, a small truth that shouldn't have been hidden. Some said Hou Minghao's expression was too real, too emotional for a simple scene. Others noticed how Yuxiao's hands trembled slightly, as if her heart was also resisting when the scene was cut. Some fans even swore they saw her lips move to form the word "don't" just before the cut was called. Was it a coincidence? Or proof that there was more than just acting between them? Behind the scenes, the story didn't end there. One of the staff members reportedly spoke with regret. He said, "We didn't know what to do. The atmosphere in the room was too intense. It felt like we were peeking at something we shouldn't have seen." Intense. That was the word most often used to describe their relationship. From the beginning of the project, many saw that the chemistry between Hou Minghao and Yuxiao was not something that could be faked. The way they looked at each other, the subtle pauses between their breaths, even the small laughs between takes. Everything felt natural. It was as if the camera was merely a witness, not a creator. However, that cut moment was not only a loss for the fans, but also a small wound for the two of them. The next day, when they returned to the set, something seemed different. Hou Minghao was quieter than usual. His eyes still held something. Perhaps regret, perhaps frustration that the moment had been lost so easily. Yuxiao, on the other hand, seemed to be trying to smile as usual, but every time the camera stopped, her gaze drifted blankly toward where it had happened yesterday. There was a new scene filmed shortly after that, a scene where the characters had to gaze at each other from a distance without words. And strangely, no one knew who had suggested the improvisation. But when the camera started rolling, tears suddenly fell from Yuxiao's eyes. It wasn't because of the script. It wasn't because of the character. But because the memory of that interrupted moment was still so vivid in his mind. Hou Minghao slowly walked closer, following his instincts, not the director's instructions. He wanted to wipe away those tears, but he held back, like someone who knew he was standing on the edge of a cliff between reality and his true feelings. Everything felt too real, and somehow, the crew didn't dare to stop him this time. After cut was called, everyone fell silent. No one spoke for several seconds. And in that silence, everyone knew that moment was no longer just acting. It was something more. When the behind-the-scenes video was finally released to the public, the deleted moment was not included. Fans were furious again. Why was the most important part missing, they asked. Some even suspected that the staff deliberately cut it out not because of a mistake, but because there was something too honest in it. One staff member wrote on their personal social media, then quickly deleted it. "We didn't make a mistake. We were just protecting them from their own feelings." That sentence caused an uproar in the fandom world. What really happened between Hou Minghao and Yuxiao? Were they really trying to hold back something they couldn't reveal in public? Or were the staff just covering up sparks that were too bright for the world to see? In every unspoken love story, there is always a third party, and this time, that party was the camera. The camera that recorded everything, but also erased the evidence of two hearts' honesty. Some time later, in a brief interview, a reporter brought up the scene. Hou Minghao just smiled faintly and said softly, "Not all moments need to be seen by everyone." Meanwhile, Yuxiao, with slightly teary eyes, added, "Some things can only be felt, not shown." Those words were like an affirmation that what they experienced was no coincidence. That behind all the laughter, scripts, and cameras, there was a feeling that grew quietly, a feeling that almost opened up to the world, before finally being hidden again behind the label cut. And now, every time fans rewatch that scene, they no longer see just a drama. They see the honesty that almost slipped out, a moment that was born but then buried in the name of professionalism. But one thing is certain, it wasn't a mistake. It was a decision made to protect two hearts that knew each other too deeply behind the spotlight. And perhaps, in a world always thirsty for true love, that cut moment becomes a legend about how love can emerge during filming, burn silently, then vanish in one word: cut. Perhaps the world will never truly know what happened behind the camera that day. But one thing is certain, their gaze was no coincidence, and those emotions couldn't be hidden. Did the staff truly protect them, or did they separate two hearts that knew each other without words? Sometimes, the most real love is hidden behind the screen in the 1 second before cut. What do you think? Should that moment have been aired, or was it too personal for the world to know?